everyone, it is Shantae. I am in my car right now driving, so please don't mind me. But I got a lot of feedback from that grief during the holidays post. I posted that post last year. It was my first year dealing with grief, having lost 3 family members last year, one being my mother. It's probably one of the hardest periods of my life. And I just wanted to make sure, the things that I learned that helped me, I wanted to make sure that that was available to anybody else who may have needed it, or just to know that you're not by yourself. So just to share a bit more, last year I lost my mother at the top of the year. My mother has been addicted to painkillers for, I don't know, maybe 15 years. And ultimately last year became her end. Again, one of the hardest seasons of my life. I definitely didn't walk into 2017 thinking that by the end of it I wouldn't have my mother or my other family members. But loss is a part of our lives, and I just want to make sure that there's some, I don't know, I just want you to feel comfortable to have that discussion about grief. Grief is not a bad word. I want people to be able to talk about it and not feel out of place, and not feel like you can't feel. And then I don't want you to be stuck. There were seasons last year where I just felt so hopeless, because I felt like I failed my mother. I felt, responsible to a degree. And I just missed her. I miss her even now, So I just don't want anybody to feel like they're by themselves this holiday season. Whether you've lost a loved one, whether your marriage has ended, you lost your best friend, miscarriage, or maybe your dreams themselves didn't crack up to be everything that you thought they would be. I just want you to know that you're not by yourself, and I want you to be able to take care of yourself while you're in this process of just grieving your loss. So I have the privilege of having a good friend of mine talk about, the loss of her mother, and the different things that we both have done to ensure that we don't find ourselves in these pits of depression, because it is so easy, really, it's so easy to get into that place where you just go numb, or you just get so bottled up and overwhelmed in grief that you just really don't know how to deal. So I have my good girlfriend from good old Alabama. You're going to hear her accent. It is the cutest thing ever. But you're going to hear me and my good girlfriend let you in on our conversation about grief and the things that we've done to ensure that we take care of ourselves while we heal. So I love you guys. I just, I love you. I want you to just feel good and know that there's life after loss. One thing that really helped me last year, I know that there are some people that follow me that are not believers, and if that's you, you are really missing out. But one thing that helped me last year, we had to pack all my mother's stuff into a bag. All of her apartment, we had to throw a lot of the stuff away and pack a lot of stuff away. And one of the things that I grabbed just for myself is a sweater that she used to wear. I believe my mother, I don't ever remember my mother not having this sweater, so I kept it. But one night that was my less busy night, I'd had a very busy few months, and then this one night that wasn't so busy, I had some time to think, and I got a glimpse of that sweater, and I completely lost it. When I got a glimpse of that sweater, it was as though I had heard for the first time that my mother passed away. It was heart-wrenching. And I'm crying and I'm just pouring my heart out to God, and I'm saying, oh, I'm telling God how I feel and just how I could get rid of this feeling and how bad I felt, how I felt like I failed my mother, and I just wanted her to be able to live her life to the fullest, and she wasn't able to do that. So I was just pouring my heart out to God, and I clearly heard Holy Spirit tell me to worship. And so I began to worship God, and I began to shift my focus from what I felt like I did wrong, and shift my focus from her passing to just worshiping God and thanking Him for who He is, and thanking Him for being a healer, and thanking Him for being the source of comfort and consolation like the Word says that He is. And as I began to worship, I began to feel strength and peace. And right when I began to feel that peace come up upon me, Holy Spirit began to say to me, now, this is what, you're only getting a glimpse of what your mother is feeling. Right now, your mother is feeling the full abundance and overflow of the peace and the strength and the joy and the love that you feel in this moment of communion with me. So she ain't thinking about her shoulda, coulda, woulda. She's not thinking about anything that happened or didn't happen. She is enjoying this other leg of life in my presence. That gave me a level of peace that nobody's she's in a good place, she's in a better place, none of that helped me. But when Holy Spirit told me that my mother was experiencing peace that her life had never experienced before, think about it. My mother had been medicating herself with painkillers for 15 years, and to know that she was experiencing peace that I'd always wished, more than what I could have wished or imagined for her, in that moment, I was good. That doesn't wipe out me missing her, and it doesn't wipe out me wishing that she was here, wishing that she was able to attend my wedding and hold my kids. But that doesn't negate those things. That doesn't negate me missing her. But what it does for me is it allows me to get a glimpse of knowing that she's okay. It allows me to know that my mother is okay. So again, me and my girlfriend, we got together and we had just a conversation. I would love for you just to be able to tune in to our conversation, and hopefully something that is said really blesses you, and something, if you ever have a question, if you ever want to talk it out, hit me up, DM me, email me. I just want you to be confident in knowing that you are not by yourself, and you have a group, a tribe of people that has experienced what you're experiencing, and you don't have to be alone. So I love you guys, and talk to you later. Thank you for coming on again for me. I just wanted to get you on to talk about grief during the holidays. So you've lost a loved one. So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit about what happened and who that loved one was and all that good stuff.
I'm Torrie Chatman. I am from Wetumpka, Alabama, but I currently live in Birmingham, Alabama. I lost my mom in 2013 to a stroke. The situation surrounding it is I wasn't able to get in contact with her. So I live about an hour and a half away from home, and my sister lives fairly close to our hometown. So I sent her home to just make sure my mom was okay. I was on the telephone with her, and she walked in and she found her on the ground. She instantly knew that she was dead. But think she had been dead at least a week. Could have been more, but it was at least a week that she had been deceased.
So how has the holiday season, like what was your first holiday like after that?
Well, you know, we like buried her 2 days before Thanksgiving. So we were still in shock. So, you know, it was kind of like floating through the first holiday season. The second one hit us, me and my sister, fairly hard. Holidays are hard. Thanksgiving was her favorite holiday. I don't put up a Christmas tree. The holidays just don't feel the same without her. So, unless there's some outside reason, outside source telling me to put up a tree, I'm not doing it. So, you know, and I hope that that gets better as time goes on. My goal is just really to get through. Like November 1st hits, and my goal is to get through to January 1st without getting in the sunken place. Just get there.
What's the sunken place?
Oh, it's a place of grief where that is so low that if I cross over into it, I will be in depression for months. And just, first of all, it's just not a good place to be. But I have too much on my plate to get there. And I can feel myself getting there. Hives. I break out in hives when my nerves get really bad. So if I start itching, I know that I'm that close to the threshold of just falling into the state of nothingness. And so my goal is to not get in the sunken place. It's just a really hard place to climb out of. Yeah.
So how have you managed to stay out of that sunken place? Because we talked before, and I can attest, you know, once you start in that grieving process and you get to that point, you know, where your mind starts to wander about how much you miss somebody, or how much you just, I don't know, the different things about them that you just miss. You just kind of tumble over into a place that can get real dark real fast. So, you know, now we're in the holiday season now. We have Christmas coming up next week. How do you manage so that you don't even cross or even walk even towards that door of the sunken place?
So in previous years, before last year, I just really just tried to kind of not deal with it. And so I would just kind of stuff my plate, pile things on top of my plate to do. And then I would get to a place of sadness that it would be like an outburst. It would be really unhealthy. It would be really bad. But last year, my spiritual mom had been telling me for years, I think during, you know, the holiday season, you just kind of need to take a time out from everything. I think you need to focus on yourself. I think you need to rest. I think you need to just really just take care of you. And so I just kind of ignored her for years. And then last year, I actually took her advice. And so what I have done in the last year, this year, instead of just trying to pretend or just trying to not deal with it, I sit in that. You know, if I feel like I want to cry, I sit, I cry, you know, and then I get up and I do something that makes me smile. You know, we were talking about the puppies. I watch videos on YouTube of yellow puppies frolicking through the fields. You know, I get up and watch a funny movie. Hey, the puppies work. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe you're not a puppy person.
Hey,
Maybe you're a cat person. I don't know. Some people are lizard people. I'm good. However, the puppies work for me. They're so cute. They just
smile.
They barely can. You know, the real new puppies that can barely walk. So they're just, you know, kind kind of tumbling. Oh, it's so cute. So I spend time with friends. I get up and go do stuff. So I make sure that I'm not sitting still. Like, I empty myself out of how I'm feeling, the sorrow, the grief, and then I have to fill myself back up. So that is where, doing something that makes me smile comes in. So YouTube videos, spending time with friends, sharing a meal with a loved one, something like that.
Just thinking about that story, I promise you, I think about the story often that you put on Facebook about your friends, because it's like we mentioned before, you may not always know what to say, but people's presence, just having them there, it makes the world of difference. So talk to me about your friends.
I cried about that again today, and I don't know what made me think about it. I don't know what made me think about it, but I just sat at my desk and had me a good old lunchtime cry. But it had to have been maybe two days before Thanksgiving. We buried her. So I think I came back to Birmingham maybe 3 days later, and maybe like that Tuesday or something. One of my friends told me, she was like, "Hey, you're looking a little thin." And so I told her, I said, "Listen, like, I just don't have the capacity to get up and cook. If it's in front of me, I'll eat it, but like cooking or like getting up to go get something, like I can't do it." So she took me to Publix and let me pick out whatever I wanted to eat. And I know she really didn't have the money to like do that, but she was just like, "Pick out what you want." And so I'm like, "I want this, I want this, I want this." And so I picked out the food, she paid for it, we went back to my place, and she cooked for like 3 hours. Like, cooked, put it in Tupperware, it was all nice and neat. So she cooked, I don't know, I think it was about 5 days worth of food.
Wow.
And when she started cooking, some of my friends showed up. Maybe I think it was about three to four of them showed up. And it was so crazy because I didn't articulate to them that I needed them, but they just came.
Yeah.
And so, I wasn't really sleeping very well. So we were sitting there, we were on the couch in love seat, and we're talking, and I was in and out of sleep, like, just with the comfort of them being there, their presence, it made it okay for me to kind of get some rest. So in the moments where I would kind of wake up, they didn't make me feel bad about being a bad host. But, I would wake up and join the conversation when I was awake. And then, if I dozed off, But they sat there and they were just there. Like, their presence made a world of a difference. So Facebook memories, they show you, what you said on this day, or what happened on this day. And I put a status up like the next day of them coming over, of that friend cooking, and those sitting in the living room with me while she's cooking. And when I tell you I cried so hard. I cried when I saw the memory. I reposted the memory. And then I cried again about it today. But just your people, your tribe, just like knowing that when I couldn't articulate it with words, like they just felt like I needed them, and they just showed up. So that has really, really helped with this journey of walking through losing my mom. And it also makes me want to be that type of friend to those around me, those that I care deeply about. Just like, it's not about money or presents or gifts or anything like that. Just them showing up. It just made a world of a difference. And they show up often, and they show up well.
So a tribe really is really, there's a few things that I think that you mentioned before. You talked about a tribe, which I think there's nothing like the comfort of people who love you. And just, it's like when somebody passes, or when you're going through any type of challenge,
you kind of are vulnerable. You're all out there, you know, susceptible really to any type of thinking, any type of negative thinking. You could really go down fast. And so managing your surroundings and having people around you that can help you even when you feel a bit weak, or just be, you know, a bit of strength, a bit of joy, a bit of love for you, a bit of peace of mind for you, I think is just invaluable.
Yeah.
When I saw your post, I was like, oh, it just made my heart so warm that there are people that exist that can just read between the lines of what you don't say and just show up. So, kudos to you.
Yeah, be like, I felt like you needed me. So I just showed up. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Torrie's friends.
Hey, my friends, I love y'all so much. Thank you. Yeah.
You also mentioned therapy. Talk
Yes.
about it.
I'm about that therapy life. And I also want to address medication because we didn't talk about that yesterday.
Oh, we didn't know.
No, we did. I've had to use medicine to help me. That's the only thing that makes the hives go away. I didn't tell you that.
Oh.
That's what makes the hives. That's what makes the hives go away. So I'm gonna make a little joke, and you're gonna laugh because it's funny.
Oh my God.
So I saw this beautiful young lady that I follow on Instagram. She had dealt with like mental health issues for years. And so she had put in her Insta stories. She was just like, you know, for my well-being, for my mental health, you know, I won't be surprised if, you know, I have to use some type of medicine to help balance me out, you know, for the rest of my days. And she was just like, my friend gave me this little jingle when I was talking to her about it. She was like, Jesus loves me, this I know. That's why he made Lexapro. And I was like, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. I was like, yeah. But I use it during the hard season. So during the winter season, I use Lexapro. When it's coming up, like, so basically like November through February-ish, because her birthday is in February. And then it's
hard.
It's like the anniversary,
right?
And within 2 to 7 days is
Thanksgiving,
my birthday, and then it's within like a week and a half or so. Yeah, so it was the 20th we found her. My birthday is December 1st. You know, Thanksgiving's in there. Then it's Christmas, and then her birthday is in February. So, and then there's, you know, Mother's Day. So I typically do well. I do fine. But those, like the winter season, like, I take it, and I have no problem telling people to do what it is that you need to do to take care of yourself. So when the hives, if I'm not on the medicine and the hives come, I don't have problem with the hives while I'm on the medicine. But I remember going to my doctor, and it was just like, you know, my nerves are so, he was like, if you take the medicine, the hives will go away. And I'm just like, I don't want to take it. You know, that struggle between your faith and, you know, well, maybe I'm not praying enough, or maybe I'm not believing enough. You know, I'm a believer, so maybe I'm not believing in God's power enough. And it's just like, hey, that's great. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Lay on your face and take this pill.
Right. I agree.
Or she could be walking around like,
right, scratching.
It's not fun. It's hilarious, actually. But yeah, like, it's like the hives. But if I feel myself like I get to the sunken place, I'm getting to the sunken place. It's like, you're not on the Lexapro. you know what it is. You need to take the medicine because your chemicals are off balance, and that's normal. But the medicine makes the hives go away. I'm a very big advocate for counseling. Like the word says, seek wise counsel. You know, the whole, just you need to lay on your face. I need to lay on my face, and then I need to go talk to this woman about what's going on too. I'm gonna do that. So yeah, so counseling is something that is regular, and in my life, I do it regularly. I see a counselor. She's amazing. So those are the things that have helped me on my journey. Everybody's journey doesn't look the same.
Right.
How everybody gets through doesn't look the same, but this is what has helped Torrie. So I can speak adamantly about those things and how they have helped me. And some people is walking on the beach, being one with nature. Whatever their path is, but I don't want us to feel shame in how we get to a healthy place within our lives.
Yeah, I think it's a fear. I think that you fear that you don't have power, or you're not believing God, or He's not pleased with, all these other different things, or it makes you less of a believer if you talk to somebody. Even the wise counsel, when you talk about wise counsel, I really think people just assume that that's their pastor or some leader, when wise counsel is the chick that has been studying this thing that's wrong with me for years. Whereas, my pastor has been studying the word, and he knows how to get me to certain points spiritually. But this lady knows that if I'm dealing with bipolarism, for example, she's been studying this. She knows what to say to me. She knows different tactics and different strategies that can get me to a position where I can really tackle that thing and get the victory over it, versus tripping and wilding out, praying, but having mood swings. So, right.
Emotions all over the place.
And everybody at church think that I just got an attitude problem, but I'm really bipolar. You know what What would you say to people, again, we're coming up on that Christmas season. There are people who probably are anticipating trying to sleep through that day, or really, really already feeling the blues now. What advice would you give them that would, bring a bit of ease to that day for them?
Be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And each year is not the same. I thought, I just kind of thought it would just get worse and worse and worse as the years went on. And some years it is like a ton of bricks hit me. But there are some years that it's not like that. Like Thanksgiving this year, like I got through November 20th and I was just like, I can't wait to see my cousins, because they're going to do something really funny or really stupid and I'm going to get to laugh. I was just really looking forward to being with my family. At that point, I was just at a point like I can count this as a blessing that although she's not here, I have them. They love me. They're here for me. Like I was just so looking forward to spending time with my family, and they did not disappoint. My sister did not disappoint. She never disappoints. I think it's important for you, to kind of create tradition yourself. Me and my sister, well, this year she has to work, but we typically do like pajamas and watch movies and roast each other. Like I love her so much. But if you feel it, don't try to like not feel it. Like sit in it, cry, feel it. It's real. It's real, and it does not make you weak. And you getting up and having a beautiful day does not make the love that you have for that person. Like, it doesn't dampen that or make it any less, because you're still living, because they still want you to go on living. You know what I mean? They still want you to have a full life. And we said their life is, their life has transitioned from this one to the next one. So when you were talking about how the peace that God had given you in that moment when you were grieving, how God explained to you what kind of peace your mom was having in his arms. So yeah,
their life
be kind.
So we have to continue as well.
Yeah. What do you do? What, like, have you figured out what you're gonna do for Christmas yet?
So I think I've decided what I'm gonna do for Christmas. So this year, because I want to create traditions for myself, I think it helps you stay far away from hopelessness. And it also just, I don't know, it's fun. You just gotta have fun. Like you just said, beautiful. Having fun and enjoying your life does not diminish any feelings that you have for the people that you lost. Like, they would want you to continue on and live greater. So for Christmas, I am going to get up and I'm going to make myself some breakfast.
Okay.
I don't know. It's going to be like French toast. I don't know. It's going to be something. But it's going to be really yummy. It's going to be yummy. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
So, and then I'm gonna wake up, of course, in my favorite pajamas. They're gonna be Christmas pajamas. My favorite Christmas pajamas. And then I think I'm going to take my Tupperware. I'm gonna go all these houses. I'm gonna round up my food from all these houses. Yup. I'm gonna collect my food. I'm gonna bring it back to my house. And I'm gonna eat. But no, I really intend to I'm really gonna have breakfast in my favorite pajamas. But I think I'm going to just make my rounds and just enjoy people for the day.
Okay.
Just see how just enjoy people and celebrate with people. And then I'm going to go back home and just relax and watch movies, because I'm a big movie buff. That's something that even me and my mother shared. We just loved movies. So I'm just going to I'm going to relax. If I do have a moment in the day, which I don't anticipate, but it may happen, I'm just going to let it ride. But I plan to thoroughly enjoy my Christmas. And then hopefully the traditions that I create by myself, I'll be able to really continue to create with my future family. So that's my plan. Bye, girl.